Hello, guys. Welcome to another beautiful episode of Leadership Podcast with me, Stephen Akintayo. And of course, this episode we're doing from Lagos, Nigeria. Our headquarters is here in Ikoyi. And today I have a fantastic guest. Of course, he's leaders of leaders in his field. And some call him Nai, some call him Nai sacrifice. Today, we have to sacrifice to the gods.
Yes.
I have barrister Kanayo in the building. How are you today, sir?
Fine, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Where do we start from?
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. Have you always known you would be an actor?
Well, thank you once again for having me.
You're welcome.
When I was growing up,
Yes.
everything I said in my father's house evoked laughter.
Wow.
And they had the inkling that I was going to be somebody in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Then when I was in secondary school,
Yes.
I used to organize Saturday night entertainment for the entire school.
Wow.
So when I left school, secondary school, started appearing in drama, they said, we know that's where he was going. So for me, on my own, I didn't know.
Yes.
But people knew.
People around you knew.
Yes.
But what did you study first degree?
In the university?
Yes.
I first of all went into Unilag to get a diploma in mass communication.
Okay.
Then I now got a full degree in philosophy.
Okay.
Then went on to get a master's degree in political science.
Wow.
Went on to get another diploma in law.
Wow.
Then now went on to get a full degree in law from the University of Abuja.
So we should say Professor Kanayo then.
It takes you 10 years in teaching in the university to be a professor.
Yeah.
But that's not impossible.
But at what age did you start acting?
When you want to qualify or quantify television and home video.
Yes.
So I started acting in 1980 on television. Then the home videos came in 1992, as we said, with Living in Bondage. Okay. And that's just what it is.
What was your first TV play?
1980. Yeah, we were acting for NTA. Yes. But don't forget, before then, too, around 75, 77, and so on.
Yes.
We were already doing drama for NTA, doing drama for radio, and so on. And you kept on honing your skills, exploiting your talent, and so on. So I can't really pinpoint. No, but when you go back in history and start calling programs. We've got Nigerian Television Authority as at the 70s.
Yes,
they had syndication of programs.
Yes.
Maybe Zone A was NTA Enugu, Zone B was NTA Benin, Zone this was this, and so on. Yeah. They all had premium programs, flagship programs by which they were known. NTA Aba was known for Try Me.
Wow.
NTA Port Harcourt was known for Inside Out, and so on. So that's it.
So what was the first one that made you a household name, in your own opinion? Living in Bondage?
Living in Bondage, of course. Everybody has come to realize that Living in Bondage, made in 1992 by Neck Video Links, who was also instrumental to most Yoruba home videos.
Wow.
It's an Igbo guy, instrumental to producing most of Yoruba movies, went on to produce an English movie or Igbo movie that now became the identity or signature of what we have today.
Wow. Wow. What will you say has been the secret of your longevity? A lot of the people, particularly in recent times, we see people of your generation, struggling, having to beg for money, for one thing or the other. You found a way to figure it out.
I didn't find a way to figure it out.
Okay.
I think, first of all, to the glory of God, one has been in good health.
Okay.
Even as the soul prospered.
Yes.
You need to manage things. You don't manage them when you have wealth. You should have managed them before the wealth even comes. We must watch our lifestyle. You don't because, like I said some time ago, a cat on a pillar does not make it a caterpillar.
I like that.
A cat on a pillar doesn't make a caterpillar. That they call you a celebrity
That's good.
doesn't mean that you have to be excessive in alcohol, excessive in whatever you do. You got to moderate. So lifestyle matters. It's just like if you are very popular, people live like Michael Jackson, even when you're in your house, people want to peep through the window and know what you're doing. It doesn't, you must live like a normal human being. Only a star or celebrity when you have an event and so on. So you just need to be careful about the lifestyle. For instance, most celebrities are known with, some of them are known with drugs. Some are known with plenty alcohol. You see them have a glass or a bottle of brandy or cognac each time you see them. That's not what it should be.
Some have 20 side chicks.
No, in fact, the side chick thing is even is a talk for another day. But there must be moderation.
Yes.
Because they asked Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe when he was alive, what's the secret of longevity? He said, moderation in everything you do. And he said, I pity a man who goes into a woman at night and say, I had her 5 rounds. It is 5 rounds of your life wasted. You know, that's not the benefit of being a celebrity.
I like that.
So when you overdrink, you should also remember some damage to your kidney or liver, whatever they call it.
Very true.
You know, so whatever life you live at 35 will determine whether your hands are going to shake when you get to 55, when you go to 60. When you go to 70, it's a life you live at 28, 30. The most active part of your life is going to be determined by what you lived at 30, 35, 40. You know, so most of my colleagues, unfortunately, are not in good health.
Okay.
I'm not better than them. The fact of the matter is we need to moderate. We need to watch what we do. And then pray to God, because even some athletes, you see some people exercise and collapse on the track.
But staying relevant in acting to this generation, you've been able to, because what is happening is that a lot of actors of your set couldn't, extend their fame to the Gen Zs. You were able to do that. Do you think it's coincidence, it's fate, or there were some intentional things you did?
Well, some were intentional, and I'll tell you how intentional they were. I have always been somebody who, if my secretary, gatekeeper, house girl, a friend's house help is wedding, I'll go. No, I don't see myself. I have always believed, and people know I've granted interview to that effect. I believe that no star lives in Africa. Well, television celebrities or popular people on television. I mean, if you qualify or quantify it with how they live in Hollywood, where you can come to a ranch and it's only you, that means we're not living. Where you want to shop, they close the whole shop. That means there's no celebrity. So we need to moderate it. So first intentional was I try to give everybody his due. Which is the definition of justice. Everybody is due. Attend events. Not every time you feel like the whole world has to. So that was intentional. But there were other things too that happened by fate. I couldn't have planned all of them. But all in all, it's a potpourri of a mixture of fate, intentionality, and so on to be able to come to where one is.
The sacrifice thing, I mean, there were about 3 of you or more that were known for sacrifice.
Yes, and it's only me that everybody talks about.
No, I think it's because maybe you own up to it, And so today, I mean, some still believe it's real, that there's some mystical, charm and sacrifice. So can you even define this inner sacrifice, persona around your brand?
Well, it's one thing you alluded to is that I have come to accept it.
Yes.
I didn't reject it.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, if you go to the dictionary,
yes,
many meanings of sacrifice.
Yes.
So it depends on the one you want to take for yourself. But for me, it was an appendage of ritualism.
Yes.
Blood money that brought us to where we are.
Yes.
But the interrogation had to change. That's why it's good to be educated. Turning a negative into a positive was what it was. Today, the world celebrates. Just like, I don't know whether you've noticed in the past 2-3 days in Nigeria, because of the fuel scarcity, strike, and so on, my picture is being used on all the blogs for composure and what the reality is on ground. So having been able to bring that nice sacrifice to good use, people now are beginning to see sacrifice as something you must do for success. For instance, even in the GTEx Homes advert, it was like, I told my daughter I make sacrifices. You know, so people now are beginning to take the positive side of it and say to themselves, you can't really achieve anything meaningful without sacrifice. There's no self-development without the sacrifice. I mean, you want to make a first class in the university, you can't be going for party every weekend. That's a sacrifice. You want to buy a house, or like they say it in GTEx language, buying a land.
You don't wait to buy land, you buy land and wait.
You buy land and wait. When you buy land and wait, what are you waiting for? You are sacrificing some things. It may happen in the next 2 years. It may happen in the next 3 years. But the fact of the matter is, with appreciation, you could be a landlord in no time. And then you could also say, okay, I'm not going to buy any further suit. I'm going to wear a black and a blue for the next 1 year. It's all about sacrifice. So if people begin to understand it, even the jokers amongst us, because there's this tendency to humorize everything or make it look like a comedy. When they say people don't see anything on the social media, when you talk about sacrifice, their mind goes to somebody has died. We need to bring ourselves to the block form.
I noticed that for a long time we didn't know much about your family until recently. You know, with your wife, how many kids do you have? Was that intentional?
Yes. 1999, when I wedded, I made a statement, and the newspapers then, there were no blogs in 1999. Carried, I said, press, leave my family out of.
Wow.
Yes. You see, there's no 21 laws of marriage. It's only for Igbo. As long as I'm concerned, marriage and other ventures, many other ventures are like salvation. Find their way to salvation. What works for you in America doesn't work for us in Nigeria. We live in different environments, different jurisdictions. Work your own way out of what it is. So when you write a book, the book may line 2 may suit you, line 3 may not suit me, and that's what it is. So if you live your family life on the pages of blogs and newspapers, they're always looking for what to sell. Just like some media abroad, they're only posting about when there's 200 people killed in Nigeria and so on. They will never post a good report. So it's also with
those of you who are in public life.
You need to shield. And in fact, these days, the people only know about my first son because he's working as an intern. And why did I make it popular? Public. That many of the things happening to us as Black people and why we lack succession is because our children don't know what we do to make money. For instance, Dr. Stephen Akintayo's children are in the United States. He is in Nigeria, making all the money, all the sacrifice. back pain and everything. His children only come 1 and 2 years,
Exactly.
and when they come 1 week, they are gone.
They're gone.
They don't know what the man does to make his money. Legitimately. If anything happens to that man, his children will run back here to struggle over the wealth. I want this house. I want this. I want this. They don't know the source of that wealth.
Wow.
What they see is the glory.
Wow.
So it was instrumental for me to tell those who were working with me, do not treat Clinton as my son. Treat him as part of a crew of what we're doing.
Yeah.
If he makes a mistake, tell him you made a mistake.
Yeah.
It will be corrected. But if you start saying, okay, son, no, you're not doing me any good. And that's what has happened to a lot of men in Nigeria. Most of them cry every day, but they won't tell you because their children refuse to come back to manage the wealth. And that's why you have many abandoned properties in Nigeria. Because even the persons who own it cannot be located.
That's true.
You know, so you know about Clinton. My second son is in the US, he's a citizen and so on. So the fact of the matter is, take your family away from public light. Only make statements about them when it is very necessary to teach the public something. Yeah. I'm a social analyst. I'm a public commentator, and that's the only way I can influence those who are following me.
Yeah, I noticed you've been very vocal, particularly in the last election. About leadership of this country, about what's going on, and was that intentional? Because some people would rather say, let me stay out of it, they may come after me. Or why have you become so vocal?
Well, I'm an endangered species as an Igbo man. That is the first thing I'm an endangered species as an Igbo man. So what do I have to fear again? I have to fear somebody from the southwest or south, not. I mean, I wouldn't do that. But the fact of the matter is, I do not see leadership from a regional perspective. I mean, if somebody has to be president of Nigeria, we'll talk about competence, capacity, and so on. It doesn't have to be an Igbo man. It doesn't have to be. But I'll tell you the origin of what I felt and what guided me for 2023. I had decided in 2022 I wasn't going to run for public office. I wasn't going to run. In 2010 I had run for the House of Rep, and really? I did that again in 2019. Wow. In 2020,
under what party?
I ran for PDP in 2010, APGA in 2018.
Okay.
And I didn't get a ticket, because one of the major problems is getting through the primaries. So I decided in 2022. Towards 2023, I wasn't going to run for public office. Okay. To be able to support the general thing on the street that is turned for the presidency to go to the southeast. That whoever emerges from any of the political parties, from any, not just PDP, not just APC, not just APGA or Labour Party and so on. By that time, Labour Party had now had the kind of influence it had. So now, of course, the rest is history. You know how the APC primaries went. You know how the PDP primaries went, and so on. And who emerged as a presidential candidate from the Southeast? P2B. So it was only natural that I was following what I had preached. I was going to support.
Why was it important to you that someone from Southeast becomes president?
Because for equity, fairness, and justice, that zone has not produced. And if after the Civil War, and we had a reconstruction and so on, and so the 3 R's, and we have embraced it and said, okay, Southeast is no longer out of the equation. It's only natural that they're given the opportunity, even though power is not freely given. But what we're saying is that let's have a scenario of fairness, equity. The only zone with 5 states. Other states have 6. In fact, it's only just the Southwest that has 6, and so on. Some have 7. I mean, what is going on? We all have equal stakes. The Igbo man is the only person who feels the necessity that anywhere he is, he calls home, builds the most beautiful house in any part of Nigeria. So we should be part and parcel. They don't born us outside. They don't born us, carry us, come enter Nigeria. We are equal stakeholders. We are Nigerians by birth, not by naturalization. So that informs why, as I'm a proud Igbo man, and I speak for the Igbos anytime I have opportunity to represent. So it wasn't a matter of fearing whether I was going to be followed, shot after the election. No. It's a matter of my conviction.
What some people will say, can they not trust the Igbos after what had happened, before Civil War?
And what happened?
The first president was an Igbo man.
Yes.
You saw the coup. The first coup was carried out by Igbos.
That's what they have preached, and we have refused to accept it.
And they believed it killed the first premier.
Out of about 40 something, 25 were Yoruba. Go and read history. When they foster such lies, such hate on the Igbos, people like us will stand and say, that is a bloody lie from the pit of hell. We have seen papers written, we have seen novels published, authors have said it wasn't an Igbo coup. So anybody who tells you it was an Igbo coup is only being a liar. I'll call the person a liar.
But do you think there's a need to talk more about it? Because people don't have that narrative.
You see, that part of history has been shielded.
Exactly.
Just like the good part of history has been shielded by the West about Africa, about Nigeria and so on. We are not who they say we are. So we need to define ourselves.
That's my argument.
Now, our point is, why is the green passport being in the committee of those who travel? Why is the green passport being looked on as something that anybody who carries it is a criminal? It's also what should bother you and me.
Yeah.
So why is anybody mistrusting the Igbo man? Does this woman from Warri area or so on? So when they were in school, they were made to hate the Igbo man. It's an intentional thing. Yeah, it was. That was January this year. So a lot of hatred has been preached against the Igbo man. I made a post after listening to Professor Yusuf, formerly of the Nigeria Health Insurance Scheme. He said he doesn't know why the Igbos are keeping quiet about the protest of things being difficult in Nigeria. Why should they? And I answered him that when the election was here, you never said. He said the Igbo people could not be trusted. So you want to trust us with protest? We won't protest. You never can trust us with leadership, or you can trust us with protest. So that is the average Igbo man's thinking. And Dr. Stephen, whether you like it or not, whatever the Igbo man touches turns to gold. That's what God has made us to be. Yes. And our people. And that's why I call on my brothers and sisters from the Southeast to be very careful about this sit at home on Mondays. It's destroying the economy of the Southeast. That is not us. That's an infiltration orchestrated by the Buhari regime. We must be careful. Igbo people should stop buying into sit at home. Buhari orchestrated it, and I'm not afraid to say it, and I'll keep on saying it. It was a thing meant to destabilize the economy of the Southeast. And weaken, and our people are buying into it. We must say no to it. Just like we must say no to anything to bring to the Igbo man or convince the growing ones that we had a higher percentage of the coup of 1966. No.
Some argue that, but there was nepotism in the military rank, after the coup, where most positions were given to Igbos, after the coup. How about that?
No, if you also look at history, you will understand that the unification decree, for instance, was one of the problems of that regime, the unification decree. But if you look around Aguiyi-Ironsi, I mean, you would see the North, the South marrying in positions.
Okay.
I wish this question was going to come up so that I will detail by detail, block by block, brick by brick, I'll mention names of the offices that people were occupying to show you there was no. What anybody talks about favoring the Igbos. It wasn't.
Okay.
I saw.
When this blog comes, I will let you know, so that immediately it comes that you can start that narration on your page.
Exactly. It's very important. It's very
really
important because people have interests of what they're pushing to further demonize the Igbo man.
Yeah.
And it cannot work. What I know is that Obasanjo, God bless him, IBB, God bless him, they have said for us to move forward as a nation.
Yeah.
Any day an Igbo man becomes president, this nation will move.
I agree.
To a point that we will be so received in the Committee of Nations that they start asking, what happened to us? Just like what Dr. Alex Oti is doing in Abia State now.
Amazing.
Now people are saying,
yeah,
so such goodness can come from this part of the country. One day we will all wake up to the realization of the destruction naysayers have done to Nigeria by excluding the Igbo man. So, whatever it is, I sum it up by saying, person will hold person for ground, na himself in whole. As long as Nigeria is holding the Igbo man to the ground, Nigeria is holding itself.
Well, I will say, because sometimes people ask me why I have a lot of Igbos around me. The truth is that I've worked with many. Our company has more Igbos than even Yorubas. And our company has grown. I've seen entrepreneurship. I've seen,
You're a wise man.
Dedication.
You remember the case of the man called Obed-Edom in the Bible?
Yeah.
The ark of the Lord rested in his house and he became prosperous overnight.
True.
That's how it is with Igbos.
Yeah.
There's something God gave to us. He may, I don't know how he denied others. But whatever. Because when an Igbo man opens a kiosk, when an Igbo man opens a kiosk in a place in January, go back there by September, it's going to be a shop. Not a kiosk anymore.
Do you think there's a need also for Igbos to begin to learn, and this is not just Igbos, for Nigerians. I'll give you a context so that it makes it easy. We took our leaders for a leadership retreat in Ghana. And some Ghanaians were, the media guys, they were to not take our picture. And I saw my colleagues, mocking their accent. The Ghanaian, come take their picture. And I remember having to say to one, I said, that is not charitable. You can't even be in somebody's country and then you are mocking. It's like you're making a mockery. And I've seen that pattern across different parts of Africa where they hate us. Partly is their problem. It's not our problem because we are very industrious. We are very, ambitious. But also partly because we too are not sometimes fair, right? We throw it in their faces. Yes. We just dominate the place like we don't care. Do you think there's a need also to play national politics, to talk national, to figure out a way? Because the North is good at that. Right? When power is to move to the South, they not find a way to divide themselves into two. They still look for their own northern person, right? And some support. They still look for a southern candidate and some support, right? Even Peter Obiya was told that some of the northern people, right, had to reach out to people in his camp to say, we're willing to support him with the vice president, which was how that he came. Right? Because they weren't too sure, right? This thing we may say it won't work, and it worked. And we must still have our people there. Do you think the Igbos need to learn politics better?
I think the Igbos...
Because they are good with business.
Yes. I think
politics is a bit...
I think the Igbos are people who play equally and fairly.
Okay.
Doctor, what was the problem with Zeke? Zeke saw himself as an African. He saw leadership not from the East, not from the West, not from the South. I think our Northern brothers should also see leadership, not from just that we have to, anytime we're not in power, we'll give you vice president. We should see power and leadership being an all-inclusive game where the best from any side. We're not saying... it was to the benefit of doubt of what is going on. It was going to be a big problem in the ecclesiastical divisions of a Muslim ticket.
Yes.
But then, if you also look at it, if two Muslims can be in power and they don't bring in their religion,
yes,
what are we talking about?
Yeah, and that's true.
What did they look for cigar when they will not be smoke? It's just because people go into political office and begin to make religion a basis for what they want to achieve. People go into office and make their regions want to be better than others. Who cares where American president comes from? Do we know whether Joe Biden is from Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or Maryland?
Yeah.
It's just because of the inequities of and the nepotism.
Yes.
Like I keep on saying it, Buhari was one of the most nepotist human beings God ever created. Only saw things from his own religious perspective or regional perspective.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of leadership we should be calling for Nigeria. We should be calling for somebody who is generous in heart. The Igbos have always, I think, if Peter Obi became president, Igbo land would have suffered more. Because he looks at the what will benefit Nigerians and not what will benefit.
Yeah.
You know, when I talk about Peter Obi, I'm not talking about him as an Igbo man. I talk about him as somebody who has been to my house in the village on 3 different occasions.
He's a good man.
Good is relative.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, he will rather sacrifice his comfort to make sure somebody from the north has something. He would rather sacrifice his personal money for somebody from the southwest and so on. If you have related with such a person, you will push his cards and say, let this one go. In fact, that your friends would even deny you of what they're supposed to get. So that's why people like us stood. I'm not saying, Bola Tinubu, president of Nigeria, has a large heart.
Yes,
he's very generous.
Yes,
but generous to the extent that you forget about what happened in 2023 and say, I'm now the president of Nigeria. Unlike Buhari, who said, I will first of all remember 97% than the 5%. This is when you speak like that, you are not you're president of Northern Nigeria, not president of Nigeria. You must have a large heart to be a president of a diverse country like Nigeria.
That's
so
true.
Igbos must come together, have a mindset that they are in every part of Nigeria.
That's true.
And that one policy can cripple them.
Exactly.
So if they come with that mindset, then we will have a better country. And also engineering our other brothers to say, let Nigeria be for all of us.
I agree. Absolutely.
I'm an Igbo man. I have lived in Lagos. After my secondary school in Aba, university in Lagos and Abuja and so on, I pay my tax in Lagos. So who should be more Lagosian than me? That when they started talking about that Igbos want to take over Lagos. For what? Igbos are not interested in taking over anywhere. Igbos are interested in their investments being secure wherever they are. Absolutely. And that's what it is for you in America.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's going, you're a black man in America, but your investments, nobody jokes with it. And that's what the law should protect every Nigerian in any part of the country constitutionally from engaging in business. Not that you come from the north. 2 laws for 5 different people. If you're from the east. I would have talked about the case of Mazen and the Kanu, but maybe to be another talk. But we should not have a law protecting those from the north and a law protecting those from the south against the Igbo man. That will not work.
Okay, I wish we can continue on politics, but we have more subject to cover. I want us to get back to entertainment. I have looked at how, and let me give an example of Tyler Perry. Years ago, he was saying how a lot of actors and actresses were focused more on awards. Black people were not given these awards. They didn't recognize this, And he told them, his focus was about ownership. And he kept telling them, can we think ownership? Can we own the studio? Can we own production? Can we, and when he didn't listen to him. Today now we can see how Tyler Perry has the largest studio in the whole of America. all the awards others were looking for, now by force they're having to give him, because most of the movies are now being shot in his studio. Why do you think entertainers do not think of ownership? They think of the immediate gratification, right? Pay me, we go. When you say, oh, let's do partnership. Can we do this deal? You take 10% of whatever come out of it. No, give me my money now. And we've seen situations where, till today, you see where people work so hard. You know, people know their faces, but years later, they've not built anything, right? And they're still struggling. Why is that so?
The environment is the reason why things happen. Black people generally are not good with partnerships and collaboration because of the trust element.
Yeah.
But if we begin to X-ray why the this system of royalty doesn't work in Nigeria, but works in the United States and all over the civilized world, you will now begin to understand why it is this approach of pay me, make I go, make your profit and so on. Our people, we've been in the entertainment industry after living in bondage in 1992. If I earn royalties from what I did over these periods, I can't be struggling with some financial implications of the things I've done. But the fact is, those you did business with don't even allow you to buy in. For instance, you want to shoot a movie in Hollywood and so on. You can see most movies, the director has an investment in it. Some actors have. But we don't even allow it here. One person wants to share the profit. Take the profit alone. So, lack of trust. They don't even want to declare what the whole movie has made. Man, is it because you're going to ask for extra and so on? So it's generally a black thing. But if we begin to see it as business than trading, it will work. Where you want to do business, you say to me, okay, I have 50% of the funds. Can you bring in 10%, 15%? What? Then we put it down on paper. And that's why as lawyers, we always say, put it down on paper. So that when there's something to share, you
go
guys,
back to agreement.
That's it. Like for instance, 3 years ago, I was approached for living in bondage, breaking free. We made the first one in 1992. The breaking free came 3 years ago. And when the producers approached me, I said I wanted a percentage in it. Okay? I wasn't ready in taking the artist fee. So they paid me a small portion of the artist fee and gave me a percentage. This is 3 years after. No declaration of any dividend. So it destroys the whole essence of buying in. So you can understand now is maybe make I go. If you so many people are not willing to let you see the papers. Many people are not willing to let you know that, okay, this is business. So who gains, who loses? And that's what has kept us to where we are.
But what can we do to change that?
It's very simple. Have like minds come in to manage business. Like minds to manage business. Many people are greedy. If we do a business now, and you have 70% and share out 30, I have 10. Give me my 10. I'm not interested in your 70. So many people are also interested in the 10 after they've collected the 70.
Wow.
And that's one thing I don't understand about the black man. It's making most of us grow old without necessary real investments. It's not as if we don't have an idea of how we can roll over our money. But we are dealing with some sharks and wolves who do not mean well.
Wow.
Who don't want you to service your own debts, who want you to come back to them every time and take one role after the other. And that has led to the promotion of YouTube now. That's why many people are on YouTube producing content. Because we are coming from a background where you had marketers who double as executive producers. You know, they will bring a script, analyze it, pay the actors. They will never publish and say, oh man, this movie sold 5 million copies. Come on, everybody, go get it. Not even that promo. They hide the books. They don't want you to see them. And the next time they come to you, Doc, which kind? I mean, even civil servants get promotion and they have salary. You produce a movie paying somebody 1 million 3 years ago. You come back 3 years later and still tell the person 1 million.
1 million.
That's the most advanced definition of witchcraft. So they were not willing to extend.
But why couldn't you guys come together as actors, to take over the industry?
You are talking about actors coming together when they're busy, but belaying themselves. Talking about there's this bad blood amongst those who are up there. I don't want to mention names in the music sector, but and because I don't even see it in the American thing. The competition is about being better, but in our own, the competition about within the act self was the acting. And at this one, we don't even commend ourselves. Say that was a good interpretation, man. Guys, have you gone to one actor to promote another actor's film?
Wow.
Oh, man. You would say, is that what exists between these guys? I'm happy to say it here because we need to wake up from that realism that you can't lead to my downfall unless it's programmed from somewhere. Because what people do is whatever can make this guy
go down.
Just like I found out that black people are always waiting for bad news.
Yes, about others.
Crap
mentality.
That's what it is. So that mentality is pulling a lot of things down. So when you say, why can't you guys come together? Are you coming together with somebody who is expecting your downfall by next week? And the news he hears is that he just got a contract. How can you come together? So there are only few like minds, and there are very few. And that's why right now on YouTube, people are doing their own things. Just make your movie, feed it to YouTube. If it gets a lot of views, you make your money. Unlike those days when marketers and who dubbed as zero producers were not willing to show you the books, now nobody goes to them. So they have lost the market.
What do you think the younger generation of artists are missing? You are a leader.
A whole lot.
You're a veteran.
They are missing a whole lot. Because there must be a marriage of the old and the new. The wisdom of the elderly and the strength of the youth have to come together.
Yes, that's my quote. It creates miracle.
That's it. But when you are only seeing me as those old school, you miss my wisdom. And when you make a mistake, I let you fall into the pit you dug for yourself. So that's what they are missing. The inability. And that's why one person who is deficient in the head woke up one day and said, old Nollywood. There can be old Bollywood or Hollywood. There's just one industry.
Yeah.
And this also tells you about the mentality we have of not coming together. You go to Kano, you say you're Kannywood. You go to Ijebu, they say Ijebu wood. There's only one Nollywood. If you want something from your governor, you can say we're actors in Kano here. But don't begin to tell me about Kannywood. There's only one Nollywood. And that's a name for the Nigerian entertainment industry.
I love that.
So there's nothing like them seeing us as the old Nollywood. No, we are the ones who started the industry. And there cannot be no killing the beetle. So if the young ones belonging to any generation are willing to listen, are willing to come close.
Do you have an example of somebody doing that well so the others can emulate?
You mean in terms of
younger person who is connecting to the wisdom of the old?
Well, I don't.
You don't want to mention.
I don't want to mention names,
but you should give a few names because
they know who and who are doing the right things. But I'm one person who's courageous, who's not afraid to mention names. But let's leave sleeping dogs lie. Even the sleeping dog can decide to wake up at 12 noon. That's okay. But the fact of the matter is, this should be a marriage of the old and the new. I mean, acting is still the only profession that keeps you to your feet until the day you die.
Why did?
Because when the older you get, this is white.
It's
not chalk.
Really white.
It's not chalk.
Really white.
It's natural. It's not a matter. It's not a distance of suffering.
Yes.
Or you are going through anything.
Yeah.
This is natural.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need makeup.
Yes.
And so on.
Yeah.
So I will keep on acting by the grace of God and doing other jobs until my last call.
Amen.
So acting is the only profession that gives you that privilege. So we will always be there. We can't check out of this industry. It's just simple. So I don't want you to tolerate me, but I want you to see me as a working partner, whether you belong to Gen Z or whatever it is. Some of us, the thing is this, many of us are even intellectually more sound than those who talk and those who grant interviews. Because we have gotten an education. Most of people, I keep on telling people every day, Babajide Sanwo-Olu as governor of Lagos State will see me somewhere and say, okay, how are you? It's good to see you, sir. He cannot say that to these ones who come and say Gen Z because he doesn't know them. So they're only popular on the online platforms. They are not popular on the real platform of entertainment. I must say that always. So that those who are feeling that, pulling their shoulders that they're equal to us, they are not even anywhere close. They can't be recognized by those who are policymakers.
That's true.
That's just what it is.
That's very true. I mean, why become a lawyer? Why was that important to you?
I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I've always wanted to read law. I took many exams in those days before I understood the nature of the university environment. What made me go to read philosophy was because I didn't make the exam for law in University of Lagos then.
Okay.
So I had to go read philosophy and then other degrees. But I had already purposed in my heart that I will be a lawyer.
Why?
Because I wanted a platform. I've always spoken for those who murmur. I've always spoken for those who cannot speak for themselves. And that's exactly what I also do on TV.
Wow.
Because television, drama, affords you the opportunity of setting agenda, of saying the truth, just like the program, The New Masquerade. Masquerade can, if somebody is covered or Max, the person can say, Dr. Akintayo, I know your father. Your father was a great man, and so on. It's inside the masquerade. Or the person could also say, you're a very stupid man. Very stupid man. Who have you ever seen anybody flog a masquerade? He's a masquerade. Can talk to government. So I have always wanted to be under that platform by which I can speak for a larger number of people. Television offers me that. But then law offers me more because I can go to the court and defend the person who cannot even speak for himself. So after all the degrees I've gotten, I still had to go back to the University of Abuja to get a law degree and attended the Nigerian Law School in Abuja, Buhari. And then was called to the bar on the 15th of September, 2020. I'm still a young wig, but being a young wig does not also mean that you don't have experience about what goes on in the street. You need to also chastise yourself and bring up yourself to be an influencer, an activist, activator of things. That's why I was producing a program called The People's Lawyer. The People's Lawyer, as name sounds, is a clinic where you teach people their rights in a drama form. It was a dramatized, it wasn't home video, but it was a law dramatized, by which at the end of the day, you tell somebody, this is what you do when your right is breached. This is how to get redress, seek for redress, and this is how to get justice. But like everything good in Nigeria, when you have a good project, it's not always bought into. Our people, and when I say our people, I mean the blue chip companies, those who sponsor things. Many people have seen People's Lawyer. In fact, the MC of the event, Oscar, was saying I should not stop it on the Saturday event we had. I said, I don't have sponsorship. I've been able to sponsor 26 or 39 episodes from my pocket. People like it. Every senior advocate of Nigeria I've met says that's what it is.
Where did he air?
I was airing on YouTube, but then I have a partnership with Emeka Mba of Afia TV, who has his collaboration with DSTV, Channel 254, Go TV, Channel 17 or something like that. But the fact is, it needs to be on a larger platform, being sponsored by people. And when I say by people, is that we live in an environment where a woman in a particular village is, her husband dies, the husband's brother takes all the land. What does she do? She doesn't know. She cries and leaves it for God. You don't leave it for God. Now, there are due processes in law by which you can evict a tenant. But somebody can wake up in Lagos or any other place and come to your house and throw out your property and nothing happens. And we're telling people, you have a right. If a landlord does that, the landlord has bought litigation because the court protects you. The poor man is in a better state in the court of law than the rich man.
I agree.
So people don't know that.
They don't know.
So this is what I was going to do with my law knowledge and knowledge of entertainment, drama, to marry both of them together. To say, if your right is breached, this is what you do. People will watch it and say, okay, I watched this on this program, and it was going to air on NTA, because NTA still has a largest format of those who are in the hinterlands. You know, to say, okay, let's do this. But do I have sponsorship? No. But if it's something by which you show your bum and so on, you have sponsorship from all the telecom companies. If it's something that teaches Nigerians how they can create wealth from even buying land, or investing in property and so on, no sponsorship. So we're not investing into the right things in Nigeria. I'm not going to talk about just BB Nigeria and so on, but the money they are spending, 1/4 of it can teach Nigerians how to create wealth.
Very true.
How many of our children know how to create wealth or manage wealth?
Very true.
So I've stopped being judgmental on these young people and how they throw money around. None of them knows. Financial management is something we don't even teach our children.
By the way, you have a new book coming up.
Oh, yes.
Sacrifice.
Is
the title of the book.
Yes. It's going to be ready any moment from now.
Okay.
We've talked about it.
Yes.
Dr. Stephen Akintayo didn't start wearing beautiful suits like this. He came from a background. Maybe he has trekked some time ago in this Lagos. Maybe
I have
he sold akara. Like I sold akamu.
I used to have popcorn and electronic.
Very good with my brother in Enugu. You know, I haven't told you my story.
Wow.
One day in Enugu, as a small boy, my brother's wife, unfortunately, she didn't understand life. She was doing everything, not for the future. It was very... I grew up under excruciating circumstances, living with my brother. I had only one brother. So the wife treated me as an outsider, unfortunately. And she used to make agidi. And she would pack it in a big basin, give me to trek from, for somebody who lives in Lagos, trek from Ojelegba to Maryland, Hawking, or even to Ikeja. Because you must exhaust it before you come back. And that weight is only when you are selling that the weight is reducing. So one day I got to a bridge in Enugu, and those who live in Enugu will know that that Ababa bridge, if you look down, is about 30 or 40 meters down. So I was carrying the akamu or agidi, and I looked down and I said to one mind was saying, why don't you jump and end all this suffering? And that's how people commit suicide. Why don't you throw that thing and jump with it? That will end. I didn't obey that voice. And this is about 40-something years ago. So that's just what it is. So Sacrifice as a book is going to teach a lot of people a whole lot of things. That Dangote didn't just come to Lagos and became Dangote. Dr. Stephen Akintayo didn't come to Lagos and became the owner of GTEX Holdings and so on. People made a lot of sacrifice. People see the glory, they don't see the story. So we're telling, in fact, there's something I'm going to send to you after this podcast of where you're going to comment.
Yeah.
So we have taken snippets of many people who made it and what they went through and so on.
Wow.
And telling those who have, because we need to reenact the reading culture. Reading culture in Nigeria is dead.
Yeah.
People don't read here. People only watch, many people only watch, especially these youths, watch pornography.
Yeah.
When you go to the United Kingdom and all over the civilized world, when somebody's waiting for a bus, you see the person reading, we must bring back the reading culture.
That's true.
So by you writing a book and by me writing a book, we are bringing back the reading culture. We're telling people there are things hidden. Because the biggest intellectual insult poured on the African, on the Nigerian is that if you want something hidden for an African, put it in a book. That's an intellectual insult. We need to take that off our shoulder. So the book Sacrifice is going to come up, it's not just about KOK, but about many things in life you must do to get to a level where people will clap their hands and say, this man walked this path and he walked it well.
And we're doing a tour together.
Oh, sure. Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
A US tour.
We want also to tell people, if we come to your doorstep, treat us like people who have come on a journey from a background of sacrifice, a background of the billionaire quotes and so on.
So me and him will be doing a US tour of his book, The Sacrifice, and my series of books, Billionaire Habits, Billionaire Codes, where we talk about, basic how we all can move to the next level. And it's powerful that when we share like this, just like we're even doing in, we move to another level and we get better and grow together. The black must not be synonymous to lack or synonymous to struggles.
Cheating and corruption and so on.
We can enlighten ourselves and build a better world for ourselves. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for having me.
It's been worth the time.
What more than it? What more than it? I look forward to more conversations and interrogations. We must get our priorities right.
Good.
As black people, as influencers, as people of light. Because, part of the sociology of why I'm studying law is that this Africa was a good place before the West came. There were a lot of good things. We need to reenact some of them and tell our people we're not as black as they paint us.
Yes.
Even though there are some elements who live amongst us who should not be part of us, but then we are better than what this generation sees.
Awesome. Guys, that's the end of another beautiful episode of Leadership with Stephen Akintayo. Amazing, amazing. We'll see you next episode. I love you. Bye-bye.